Today is Saturday, March 26th. It's award show season, and we're just one day away from what's considered the most prestigious of them all, the Academy Awards, aka the Oscars. So today we're talking about it all, the controversies, recent changes, and movies that have the best chance to win. We're excited to welcome an expert on all things Hollywood, Janine Rubenstein. She's an editor-at-large at People magazine and the host of the People Every Day podcast, which, if you like the Newsworthy's regular news roundups during the week, but could use a bit more celebrity news, the People Every Day podcast is perfect to add to your playlist. But first, we are talking about all things Oscars right here. Welcome to the Newsworthy Special Edition Saturday, when we sit down with a different expert or celebrity every Saturday to talk about something in the news. Don't forget to tune in every Monday through Friday for our regular episodes, where we provide all the day's news in 10 minutes. I'm Erica Mandy. It's now time for today's Special Edition Saturday. Janine, thank you so much for coming on the Newsworthy.
You are so welcome. I'm happy to be here.
It always seems like most of the award shows are just leading up to the Oscars. Do you agree with that? And why are the Oscars seemingly the most important of the award show season?
Absolutely. Everything else is just a pregame. I think in my industry, at least in media, it's just this revving up to this big, iconic show that a lot of people have said, has waned in importance in recent years, and the viewership has gone down and all of these different things, but it's still the Oscars. Like, this is the show where you just really put all of your stake in what the Academy has to say is the best in film.
It seems like in today's world, a lot of people are watching movies on streaming platforms who haven't always been eligible for the PR that award shows can bring. And so I know there's been kind of a lot of debate about that. How have the award shows and the industry in general have had to adapt to the Netflix and Amazon Primes of the world?
Oh my goodness. I mean, like all of us, they have had to get on board because it is what it is. When you look at the Oscars, who changed their rules in 2020, saying that they are going to now accept streaming movies that streamed only, that never saw a theater. And that was supposed to just be for that year because of COVID and the pandemic. But, we're going into the 94th annual, and there are still Netflix and those types of films being nominated. It's the times. It's what we're living in. And they have had to embrace that. I mean, people are Googling where they can watch the Oscars themselves on streaming services.
And it's often those streaming services that are doing really well during award show season, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, they are not skimping when it comes to production value and cinematography and, the talent that they're getting. I mean, you have the biggest names out there starring in Netflix films. So that'll tell you, if they're able to pull in the heavyweights, those are the people who we're used to seeing at the Oscars anyway. So you're not going to nominate, it just makes sense.
Another call for change has been about diversity. The trending hashtag #OscarsSoWhite was actually back in 2015, when for 2 straight years, the Academy awarded all 20 acting nominations to white actors. So what do you think has changed since then, if anything? And do you think there's been progress?
I absolutely do think there has been progress since 2015, and it's been ongoing. The Academy themselves have done a full-on shakeup internally to expand their membership. I mean, when you're looking at Oscars So White and, all of these films that are full of white actors and white producers and white directors getting nominated, that's because, behind the scenes, the Academy is full of white people who are nominating these things. And they looked at that and said, we have to change our voting body so that we can change the representation that is getting up for these awards and winning these awards. And they did that.
Hosts, winners, presenters have used the platform of award shows to speak out about various issues, including politics, world events, diversity. Has that always been the case, or has this become more of a thing in recent years?
It has definitely grown in popularity. That's not to say that, in the golden era, there weren't moments, but they were few and far between. Now it is every other show. I mean, we saw it at the SAG Awards just recently, the Screen Actors Guild Awards. The outpouring of support for Ukraine and what's happening over there was just front and center. People had on the Ukrainian colors and all of that. And when we go back to Me Too, that movement, when that kicked off, that was the topic of the award show? Not who was winning, but once they got up there, what were you going to say about this? Some people complain about that and say they want to focus on the art and the entertainment. And other people say, like, hey, if you have this voice, if you have this platform, use it for good. We understand that you are actors playing pretend, and that's your job. But, you are people as well, and you have this huge platform. So I'm of the vein of you speak your mind. There's no reason to get up there and hold back.
Do you think that people speaking out during these award shows has impacted ratings one way or the other?
I don't think it's because things have gotten more political. The world is more political. Is that, you know what I mean? Like, it just is what it is. The only thing I can think that may have negatively impacted ratings is how long these award shows have been going. And maybe with the speeches getting a little bit longer, that may be it.
And to the point of the length, I mean, people are used to, 10-second TikTok videos now? So
yeah, that. I mean, I think it's really just calling on, producers to put on a show and get those jokes lined up and just razzle dazzle, all of that, because you have to now. People are consuming, like you said, content in bits and pieces here and there all throughout the day.
I guess at the end of the day, do you feel that the Oscars and all these award shows are still relevant?
I do. I really do. Because you still see, even if half of the people are watching that used to, you still see that Oscars boost, that uptick of people kind of like clamoring to see whatever that film was that ended up winning that they had barely even heard of before the Oscars.
Still ahead, Janine explains how movies are picked for the biggest awards, and she shares her predictions about which movies will win big tomorrow night. Plus, she's giving our listeners a behind-the-scenes look at what it's really like on the red carpet. But first, let's take a quick break to thank our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by Pampers. As you know, researching is a big part of my job. So now, as a parent, I find myself researching, maybe a little too much, about everything I give my baby. So let me save you some time and energy and share a little bit about the diapers I've been using for my baby. Pampers Cruisers 360 Fit is Pampers' best fit and protection for an active baby. So I appreciate avoiding a wrestling match at every diaper change because Cruisers 360 Fit is quick and easy to pull on and quick and easy to take off with these easy tear sides. Also, it has a 360 gap-free fit, so it's super soft and stretches really nicely around my baby's waist. Plus, these diapers lock wetness away from skin for up to 12 hours, which helps to keep my baby's skin healthy, even while we all sleep through the night, at least most nights. And this next part is really important to me as well. Pampers Cruisers 360 Fit is hypoallergenic, so it's free of elemental chlorine bleaching, parabens, and latex. You can buy in store, look for the Pampers Cruisers 360 Fit, and download the Pampers Club app today to start earning rewards with every diapers and wipes purchase. This episode is also brought to you by Tommy John. Style or comfort? How do you choose? Well, we no longer have to, thanks to Tommy John's new loungewear. The fabrics are super soft and cozy and always feel really high quality and look great. It feels like a treat every time I put on my Tommy John lounge joggers or my women's lounge Henley, even though I wear them at some point practically every day. And get this, Tommy John loungewear features tagless labels because you can't be comfy when a tag is scratching you. And when you're getting that kind of thought and detail put into comfort, you know you're in good hands. My husband knows it too. He's really picky about his comfort level, so that's saying a lot. In fact, his favorite work socks are Tommy John. He says they're the only dress socks he can find that don't fall down and are comfortable all day long. Tommy John does not have customers, they have fanatics, and I'm one of them. So see for yourself and get 20% off your first order right now at TommyJohn.com/newsworthy. Shop TommyJohn.com/newsworthy for 20% off. TommyJohn.com/newsworthy. See the site for details. Okay, now back to my conversation with Janine Rubenstein. So what do you think makes a movie Oscar worthy? Because it's not always the most popular movies, right? We don't see Marvel movies in the Best Picture category. So why is that?
It really is the more erudite of the award shows. They are looking at the art. They are looking for the method acting. They are looking for, someone who really just gave themselves over completely into this role as far as the acting, but also the cinematography. It's like the best of the best in whatever it was. And there are some action films that win in different categories, not necessarily acting, but if there are these sweeping fight scenes or special effects, things like that, they will give it to ideally the best in in each of those categories. But when it comes to like the overall film, you hear a lot in the industry, like that is a film that the Academy will love. Things that kind of align with like the more, I guess, traditional way of thinking of what movies are. And then you'll have those movies that really just kind of throw all that out the window. And there's a number of them this year as well. There's that kind of what we're used to the Academy voting on. And then you have some curveballs out there that really win big.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. Any thoughts on some of the nominations for the big awards? What stands out to you?
There's some pretty good ones this year. A lot of folks are talking about The Power of the Dog with Kirsten Dunst. Don't Look Up was one that I really liked. I mean, it didn't get a lot of love at the other award shows. It's just star-studded, that whole cast, but it is about impending doom for our Earth. So it was very poignant for me considering everything. Coda as well. This is a film that is just breaking down all types of barriers around, sign language and American Sign and actors who are deaf and just how the levels that film goes through. A lot of people are saying like Coda is going to be a sneak attack and just win it all. And then I loved King Richard, Will Smith. People are like, this is his year. He is going to get it. He became Venus and Serena's dad in this film. Everyone has really said that he killed it. And I agree. He is so wonderful. Anjanou Ellis, who plays their mom, also amazing. But Will just transformed.
Another thing that stands out this year is that for the first time ever, 3 women are hosting the Oscars: Wanda Sykes, Amy Schumer, and Regina Hall. This is especially a big change because the Oscars have actually gone without a host for the last few years. So why do you think the change, and what kind of impact in general do you think a host or hosts have?
Well, kudos to them. I love all of these women. I think they're all amazing. So I'm excited for that. And I am hoping that it gives Amy Poehler, Tina Fey, Golden Globes glory because they are my all-time favorite hosting duo. I'm looking for that comedy and that timing. I know it's a much more serious show, but I'm pretty excited about this. And I don't know, I just feel like there were so many things they were trying to get right behind the scenes that putting all that on a host these past few years was just too much. I mean, a lot of us have had to scale back in different ways because of the pandemic, and with a host and all, trying to organize that and make sure that is correct with everything else they were dealing with. I can see why they didn't have one. And then, a few years back, there was that whole Kevin Hart controversy with him hosting and then not hosting. So it's just been a lot to deal with. I think they thought it was just easier to not for a while. And this is the year where they are coming back in full form, with 3 amazingly talented and hilarious women. So I'm really excited for it. And then you have that diversity there. Again, I said the Oscars know what's been going on when it comes to that. And they are trying their best to do what they can to show good faith that they are making changes, that they are becoming more diverse. And I think this hosting lineup is just evidence of that.
And what kind of impact overall do you think a host can have on the award show?
Oh, I think hosts are pretty important. They can have a horrible impact if they're not good and they're not funny and it's just like, oh my God, get to the awards. But if they are, it just really does move it along and it makes it something worth watching when, even if the nominations aren't that exciting. And I feel like particularly in a year where so many people are saying like, I haven't seen any of these movies. Like I've heard that from a lot of people. So having that host when you do not have a personal investment in the movies because you just haven't seen them is super important.
And finally, I know you were recently on the red carpet at the SAG Awards. So I'd love to give our listeners kind of a behind the scenes look.
I've had both experiences where, you are angling, hoping someone will pass your little teeny tiny spot. Or we've had like a huge platform and it's like, hello, this is people, come to us. So SAGs was the latter where we just really were able to have a good space. And it was great because the one thing I will say about, we are not post-COVID, but as things have opened up, is that the stars are so much more apt to just talk and hang out and have fun and engage. You know, I say like no egos. There's still a couple egos out there, but people are just like, oh my God, I have on pretty clothes and I am on a red carpet. And what's your name? Janine? Oh my goodness, I love you. Like they just are like the rest of us and they're just eager to just, you know, socialize and be out. So it is working very well for a red carpet situation.
Can we get you to name names about which celebrities have egos still?
Well, no, you can't because I like my job.
Thanks again to Janine Rubenstein and People Magazine for sharing so many insights with us today. If you love this celebrity stuff, you're going to love the podcast People Every Day. Janine talks to newsmakers and People's journalists to bring you the day's biggest celebrity news and to tell you a story that'll make you smile. So add it to your playlist and listen alongside the newsworthy for an extra dose of entertainment. We have a link to the show in our episode notes. And of course, you can watch the Oscars tomorrow, Sunday, March 27th on ABC. As always, if you can't watch, the Newsworthy has you covered. We'll share highlights from the Oscars, including the big winners of the night, on Monday morning during our next regular episode. Our daily 10-minute news roundups are available every weekday at 4 a.m. Eastern. For now, have a great weekend.